What's up, people? It's your boy Levelhead back with another Live and Level Gamers podcast. No, you did not hear the intro because Mr. Host forgot the piece that he needs to get this sound to go into this Google Plus, and it's up the road with my wife. So hey, we shall not have any music. So with that being said, we're gonna have a pretty good podcast tonight. I'm gonna let these dudes introduce themselves, starting with the one and only Vegeta with the pacifier in his mouth. Go on and introduce yourself, man.
Do not ever talk that way about the Prince of all Saiyans.
So that's D2K. Mr. KC himself. KC, Kansas City. How you live in the state and don't claim it? I don't understand that. Well, we're gonna go with what I'm saying, Captain America right here on the chest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man, since Casey don't want to talk.
What's up, y'all, man? Trying to have some fun today, man.
All right, Denver. Would you say something, Denver? Is that better? This dude ain't gonna talk. All right, John Shaw, come on, man.
Is he muted?
Yeah, he muted. You got your mic muted if you was trying to talk. He is at work, so I mean, he might not be able to talk right now. He might be getting reprimanded by the boss or something. So anyway, when he decides to introduce himself, we'll let him introduce himself. But anyway, man, we here to have a decent podcast. We don't have a lot to talk about because there's not a lot to talk about. But before we go into all that, what you been gaming on is what we normally start with. So starting with K-Bum20, what you been gaming on, man?
Me. So I've been still on this Overwatch. That's it's been my thing. You've been listening to the podcast for a couple of weeks now. It's been my thing. Is playing Overwatch. So I've been doing that. Still playing the Division a little bit. Not too much. I am getting quite tired of it. And I think it may be time to put Madden to greener pastures. It's getting real close to that time for me, but we'll see about it. But that's pretty much what I've been gaming. I still haven't finished my haven't got back to my Uncharted 4. My wife said she wanted to watch me play it, so I haven't got back to it to play it again. So whenever I get a chance, I'm gonna play it with her, so she can see it.
Oh, that's so cute. The wife is play the game. Oh, that's so nice. Okay,
We gonna go in.
D2K.
I ain't gonna say nothing to you, bro.
Especially what we was talking about earlier, but anyway.
Oh, you's a dirty one, man. You know what, D? Oh man, you's a dirty one. Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, I've been playing the same things, playing my Dragon Ball Xenoverse. I finally got over a hurdle that was holding me back, and now I'm starting to progress and level up some more on there. And I heard that they had came out with a new Dolphin emulator, which is an emulator that plays GameCube and Wii games. And so I downloaded that because I wanted to be able to play uh, Star Wars Rogue Squadron for the GameCube. And before some of the earlier iterations of this emulator, it wouldn't run properly. It'd be like the intro would be like super slow, and you wouldn't even be able to get to the game itself. And there were other bugs and stuff. It seems like they ironed out a lot of these things, and I'm telling you right now, this game looks absolutely incredible on PC. I mean, it almost looks like I'm watching a movie. I mean, it just goes to show you just how much work that they put into that particular game, or games, because they had the Rebel Strike 2, or Part 3. But the intricate detail of the textures and it just feels like you're playing a movie. I wish Factor 5 was still around, because they just did an excellent job with that game. And I will definitely play that over Battlefront all day long, twice on Sunday.
Okay. All right. If John Shaw, you ready to talk yet? Tell us what you've been gaming on. Let me see if he still ain't talking, huh? You muted if you trying to talk. Shaw. Okay, he ain't talking yet. So anyway, as far as me, man, I actually did turn on my PlayStation 4 this week and downloaded the story portion of Street Fighters 5 and played through that, beat it, enjoyed it. Still not. I almost feel like I'm gonna have to recant some of my stance on Street Fighters 5. I still don't think it's crap, but the company is definitely crap. The game, what you got there, can be enjoyed. That's why I won't call it crap, but it's just not enough. And the storyline took me literally 16 something hours to download that download or upload or whatever you want to call it, just to enjoy 5 hours, actually about 3 hours of gameplay.
Dang.
For what console? Which for
The PlayStation 4.
So it takes long on there too.
Well, it took long for this download. I mean, it might have been the fact that I'm going over Wi-Fi, so it ain't directly hooked in. And I was upstairs. Gamer? I was upstairs on my entertainment system upstairs, trying to be around the family a little bit more. So I took the PS4 up there and hooked it up on that TV, and so I don't think the distance should hurt anything. But yeah, it took me. I had to literally leave it running. I left the house and I was gone pretty much all day, and it still wasn't done when I got back. Put it like that. So I actually didn't get to play it the day I started downloading it. I had to play it the next morning, and then when I finally got that portion downloaded, I had to go into the store and actually download the actual storyline. So I had to download some patch from Capcom and then go into the store and download the story, the new addition to the story mode. So even in the morning, I still had more to download.
No.
Yeah, it's crap, man. It's a bunch of crap. So, like I said, the storyline goes like this, and if you haven't played it, you're not playing one character throughout the storyline. At one moment, you might be the villain. The next moment, you might be the hero or anti-hero, however you want to, categorize each character in Street Fighters. And of course, you end up there are some revealing aspects to the storyline, and I don't think many people have Street Fighters and probably don't care. So I can go ahead and I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying this. Should I say it or should I? Y'all give me the word. Should I?
But just say spoiler.
Spoiler alert! If you don't want to hear some of the secret characters revealed in the Capcom Street Fighters 5 story mode, you need to either mute or skip past this part if you are not listening live. But anyway, Urien is back from Third Strike, right?
Does he have pants this time?
Yeah, he has pants, but you can also play him in his traditional Roman-like underwear, type gi. But now if he's there, someone else is gonna show up.
Gil, is that what it's called?
Gil is back, man. You don't fight him or anything, but he shows up at the end. The storyline is actually two storylines going at one time. So, like I said, it's nothing to brag about or boast about. The storyline wasn't all that. It was cool. It was fun. It was nicely animated. Cheesy a whole lot of ways through it. Some parts was boring. Other parts was very engaging. But for the most part, wasn't worth the wait. I would rather got an arcade mode and fight through to an M. Bison, N or a Gil N. I think that's what they needed to do rather than his storyline. So, Balrog, is that how you say his name? Balrog, the boxer.
Yeah.
He's a beast, man. I mean, he ain't no joke.
I've heard.
Yeah, he's a problem. They have really balanced him out well. Of course, Ryu and Ken always do they thizzle. Urien is, you could still tell that they need to work on him, like his balancing, and It's not. I don't know. I don't know if he's finished or he's still a work in progress. I don't know. And there's a couple other characters like that that's still a work in progress, even though you can use them once through the game. And Bison was nice. Who was I'm thinking about? There's one other character that I wanted to talk about. I'm forgetting who it is. Anyway, overall, it's all right, man. Like I said, there's nothing to brag about. It definitely needs more to make this game feel like a $60 price tag was worth spending. I feel like I got ganked, I got robbed, I got bamboozled, duped, whatever else you want to say when I bought Street Fighter V. I still ain't going to concede to the whole crap lingo, but it's not far beyond a tarted flush. Put it like that. It's a tarted flush, definitely. It's a turd, but it's a turd because of what Capcom done, not because of the content that's there. What's there is actually good, but it's not enough. But anyway,
Well,
I'll leave it at that.
I got a question for you then. You said it's not worth $60. About how much is it worth right now? Is it like $37 or? If
you was to ask me, Street Fighters right now with the addition of the storyline, $25.
$25. Dang, that's a Christmas sale.
Yeah, it's
Black Friday.
It's like what you paid for Killer Instinct. About $19.99 for the first. When you first bought it. When I bought it was $19.99, and you got half the characters and all that. And then when the next season come out, you go and you spend another $19.99 to get those characters. It is basically like that. It's like they releasing this game in pieces, and I don't even. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Alex, whoever now, D2K, you are an animator. I do a little art. I do a little art, but you are a true blue animator, right?
Right.
Whoever animated Alex needs to get fired. Bottom freaking line. If you go and look at Third Strike, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and you look at the design of Alex, Alex is man, it's one of the best character designs in Street Fighters. Right. From his clothes to his body structure, everything just looks menacing, and even when he stands off against Hugo, and they got the Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan standoff, chest to chest, and then they kind of. Right. If you know anything about that, that's for them old school gamers, not these kids. But anyway,
that's what they based off of, Hulk Hogan, Andre.
Right? Yeah, dude, they totally ripped this dude of any of that charm. Like they make him look. I don't know what they was thinking with this dude. He just doesn't look like he fits. They look like they took T-Hawk and tried to take the T-Hawk model and form it into Alex.
I'm looking at it now. This looks horrible.
It's horrible, dude. And Alex is one of my favorite characters because and this is a little known, folks don't notice, Alex actually in Third Strike replaced Ryu as the main protagonist in the first Third Strike, and then the second one, Ryu came back in focus. But when they first made Street Fighter 3, Alex was the new Ryu. He was the new main character. Right. So they really jacked him up, and I was a big Alex fan, but they jacked that dude up. But hopefully they don't jack up Dudley. I think it's Dudley, the boxer, the black British boxer.
British boxer, yeah.
I hope they don't jack him up. But Urien, they got him right. He looks like Third Strike's version. That's what they said, and I watched the video, and I don't know why we doing this long Street Fighters talk, but anyway,
you doing that?
Yeah, I am.
I said you doing that?
Yeah, I'm a Street Fighters. I love Street Fighters. I just don't like what they did with this one. Anyway, I was watching a video and they was talking about how each character has been designed by different artists. That's why it's so up and down.
That's a mistake. You should never do anything.
Right, like that. Right. So. I'm hoping, I really do. I do hope because Burak, how you say the boxer, he looks ridiculously good. But they need somebody to take Alex and reanimate him to look more like Third Strike's Alex. I don't know what they did to this dude, but he looks horrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's enough on that. John Shaw, you Kansas City, you ready to introduce yourself?
What's going on?
We've been sitting here trying to get you to introduce yourself for the last 15,
I
20
told you I was
minutes.
gonna be in and out.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself, man, and what you've been gaming on.
I've been gaming on it. Uncharted, the Resident Evil, Umbrella Corp, some Battlefield Hardline. I played some Doom, but I'm getting bored of that. So
Okay. All right.
that's all I've been gaming on.
Okay. Well, let's jump into this, man. We gonna start off with this Nintendo secret because I think D2K wrote a beautiful article on FullEffectGaming.com, and if you haven't got a chance to and you follow us, go over there and check it out. It's a good read, good a lot of digging and research. But before we go into that the other topic, I want to kind of sweeten it up and then go to where we can probably offend some people. But let's talk about this Nintendo secret. So D2K, you got an article up on FullEffectGaming.com where you say you might have cracked the code to Nintendo's, secret thing they're working on that they don't want anyone to steal. So go ahead and kind of bring us up to speed to what you dug and researched and articulated in that article that I thought was very compelling. And I ain't gonna say necessarily convincing, but it was compelling, and it made me like, wow, that's a possibility. So go ahead.
Well, basically, I like to take the facts that we actually have and create a narrative out of that, of something that might be plausible or possible.
Hmm.
And it really started with the video that Jedi Knight did,
Okay.
because he did a video talking about some information that came out from somebody on Reddit.com. I forget who the guy's name is, but he was the one that was talking about this idea that the NX could actually be a 3D system, so to speak. And I think that he also referred to a video that OJ from Player Essence did about it as well. And it's basically, this form of 3D is not the 3D that we're accustomed to. This 3D is based off of head tracking. And he also put up a video of, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but there was this guy named Johnny Lee who basically found out a way to take the Wii remote and the sensor bar and turn them around and hook them up to the PC and use it to create a head tracking system to where it looked like what was on the screen, a regular 2D screen, was 3D coming off the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And what this could, and then I thought about it, and I actually went back and started looking at the Nintendo patents of what they were patenting over the past 3-4 years. And in May of 2014, Nintendo came out with this patent, and it shows someone basically looking at something in 3D. And if you actually read the description, it's talking about head tracking 3D, of being able to have 3D on 2D screens. So it was basically, 3D is wrapped up in the glasses and the device and not in the television set. So you can have a 3D gaming experience without having to have a 3D TV, which was basically the big bottleneck in albatross that killed 3D gaming before it even started with the PlayStation 3. And when you talk about 3D, a lot of people, especially with Nintendo, they only think about the 3DS and the Virtual Boy, because those are the two mainstream things that Nintendo did as far as 3D was concerned. But there was a lot Nintendo was doing outside of that and way before that. Now, quiet as is kept, a lot of people don't realize this, but the GameCube actually was designed to be a 3D console. Mm-hmm. It actually has technology built into it that's ready for 3D. And what they were going to do is that they had a deal with Sharp to create this liquid crystal 3D display that would sell separately, and you'd be able to basically see 3D on this display. But Iwata was saying that this display would have cost more than the GameCube itself, so it wasn't something that they could do. It wasn't realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But even before this, way back in the 80s, I had no idea this had happened, but apparently Nintendo released a 3D version of the Famicom in Japan, which used shutter style glasses, which is what a lot of some movie theaters use that same type of 3D effect. Shutter style 3D is basically blinking on and off.
Mm-hmm.
For the NES or the Famicom way back in 1987. So I'm not sitting here to think about the whole thing about how Nintendo is keep being so quiet and how they don't want to talk about it and they don't want to reveal anything. They're afraid that Sony and Microsoft or anybody might steal their idea. And they've already talked openly about VR and saying that that's something that's we're planning to do, but not anytime soon. We can do it. Our system has the power to do it, but we're not doing it. So there has to be something out there that's different or unique that separates it from Scorpio and Neo, and this could be it. And I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that this is something that fits. There's a narrative that fits the facts.
Okay.
If you actually look at Nintendo's history and track record of never wanting to leave anything alone that they thought was a good idea, and you add that with the fact that they've done 3D more than once in the past, and the fact that you've seen games. There was a rumor it was in March, that one of the launch titles for the NX would be Luigi's Mansion 3, which I found kind of interesting at the time, but now I think about it now, it makes even more sense. Because Luigi's Mansion was supposed to be was basically a launch title for the GameCube, but that game was supposed to show off the 3D capabilities of the GameCube. And then we wound up seeing Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon later on the 3DS. So we saw what they were planning to do back then on the 3DS version of Luigi's Mansion. So if they are making Luigi's Mansion 3, that's something else you can toss into the fire to make it a little hotter, that 3D could be the direction that Nintendo is going. And the thing about this is that all of this would be very, very cheap for Nintendo to do. It would not be expensive at all in terms of the types of glasses that would be necessary for this type of 3D, and being able to still allow it to be a portable system. So we'll see what happens, but I thought that there's a lot of things that were said that I think that really kind of might be tipping the hat on what Nintendo is planning.
Okay. Now, before I let the other two guys chime in, I want to ask you one more question. Now, you had a video up, and like I said, if y'all get a chance, go over to FullEffectGaming.com and check out D2K's article. What was the title? D2K?
I don't remember. It was like this. Could this to be the secret of NX or something like that? I don't know.
It's a video that you uploaded with a Pepsi bottle, Coca-Cola bottle. I think it's Coca-Cola. And now it looks like from multiple angles you can see, and you were saying this can be kind of like the ideal of it. And if it's tracking your head, can you see the 3D from multiple angles, or just curious?
Not only that, but you actually can get behind images that are, let's say, like the one of the videos that's on there was the video from that Johnny Lee guy who basically he basically figured out how to take the Wii remote and sensor bar to make it, and he had this display on his PC display these targets. And when you looked at them with regular glasses, they looked normal. But when he turned the 3D on, we turned the Wii remote on, then it looked like some of the targets were closer to you and some of the targets were way off in the distance. But as you got closer to the screen, you saw some of the targets actually would move behind his head, while the targets that were further in the distance became closer.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was all contained within the frame of the screen. Like if you look off, you go off the screen, you don't see anything over here. But as long as you're looking at the screen, whatever you're looking at in that rectangle was 3D. And that's sort of like what they showed with the Coca-Cola bottle, is that it's almost like 3D married with augmented reality.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get it in, guys. Going to K Bum, first. First, let me ask you: would this be something interesting to you as a Sony, primarily a Sony PlayStation type of gamer? Would you be interested in a these type of capabilities, if Nintendo had the power that you were, adequate power, and maybe not the most power, but adequate power with this type of technology? Would this intrigue you or interest you?
What I've preached about for a while is that systems need to have something that these consoles need to have something that makes them different than the other guys. That makes people want to say, "Hey, I want to buy this system over this system." And if the reports are if this is something they are working on, I would be a fool to say that it's something I'm not interested in. Just from a gamer standpoint, not from a hey, I'm a Sony guy, but just from of a person that loves games. I think what's been described is something that's really cool. Just like how VR, once I actually saw it and got my hands on with it, I saw how really cool that was also. And so I think this is something that's pretty cool. I did like the way he described how when you move closer to the screen, that the objects could appear behind you. And like you said, that is just going from the one guy's demo that he did. Not exactly saying that Nintendo would have the exact same representation, but just from what he did. That aspect of that 3D plus augmented reality is something that's very interesting, and I would love to see something like that in action, and that would even intrigue me as a gamer. I'll go back and to say that I was also intrigued by the motion controls of the Wii. I was very intrigued by that, and I enjoyed playing it. My biggest gripe with that was that I didn't feel like it would have been fun by myself, and that's one of the main reasons why I never actually bought that system, because swinging around my joystick by myself, it was fun with friends and others, but by myself I didn't have that same enjoyment. But going back to with VR, because VR is meant to be played by yourself pretty much at this point, I can see this being on a very similar level, and I can see something that people will be, even me, would be interested in seeing.
Man, I'm looking at the video now, and I did not. That is pretty. That is pretty dope, man. It makes the TV look like it's a box cut into it, and you can literally stick your hand inside of the TV. Go ahead, John Shaw.
It's all dependent on the people that develop the game for it. They make something that's intriguing and they can utilize the tech to its fullest, and yeah, it's something that it could take off. But it's all dependent on the developers and what games they put out for it.
Wow.
I have my
Okay.
3DS, but everything's not cool in 3D on 3DS.
Right. Yeah, 3DS. The 3D on 3DS. Well, I never played the revised version one where it made the actual 3D a little bit better, but the one my son got is cool. Don't get me wrong, I like it, but uh, I don't know. It wasn't nothing that was. It was very impressive when I first started playing, but after a while, everything gets
So
you get
it's
used
like
to
the
it. So.
movies. You know what I'm saying? Like some movies work for 3D and some don't. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And you can tell when some movies are just throwing it at you just to throw it at you, and it's like it's not entertaining like that. But then when you get like
Uh,
a movie that where the whole world is in that 3D aspect, it makes it more enjoyable and you get more immersed in it. And so that's what they have to do with the games. They have to make it for that and have to make it immersive for that experience.
Okay.
Right, it can't be tacked on. It has to be something built from the ground up with 3D. Kind of like how Avatar was designed to be a 3D movie from the start, and that's the reason why its 3D was so phenomenal compared to other movies where they say, well, let's just throw 3D in there, and it's like, well, it's a hindrance more than an enhancement of the movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, if you get a chance, the video is all you gotta do is type in on YouTube Johnny Lee Nintendo, and it'll take you. The first video will be head tracking for desktop VR display using Wii Remote, and
Or you just go to fulleffectgaming.com and watch it on there.
or you can go to fulleffectgaming.com and watch it on there as well. My bad.
The blog is titled "Could the Secret of Index Have Been Under Our Noses All Along?"
Yeah, go check that out. It's pretty good, man. And I was working on a piece I just never finished, and I probably put it up here soon. But yeah, go check that out. Very intriguing read. You heard some of it here, but he goes into even more detail there. So that's fulleffectgaming.com. Please check that out. Anyway,
And shout out to Jedi because he's the one who put me up on that. So
yeah, shout out to Jedi Knight, which we missed him last. Hopefully, if we do the podcast Sunday, he'll be available. So go ahead, K-Bon.
No, I did want to say that yeah, while you guys are on that website, also check out those thick thigh girls that D2K has on there. Whew, boy, there's some thick thigh girls. Lord have mercy. I'm sorry, I saw that. I was intrigued myself. I had to look at the whole animation and everything. I'm sorry. Sorry. Continue. No, for real, y'all go check out those thick thigh girls. Just like for real. And then the rest of the articles. I'm done.
Did you put up some more anime?
No, I'm working on something right now, but I haven't put anything else up there yet.
Okay. Anyway, let's dive into this next topic. Or do y'all want to end on this topic? How y'all want to play it? You want to end on this topic or go into it right now?
I don't know. We may need a picker upper after we're done with this. So
we
might not want to end on.
So okay, let's go into it then. Well, let me first do a shout out to Mrs. K. I was very inspired. Well, let me put it like this. I was wanting to talk about this, and I do it off of the YouTube Leveled Head, persona. The real dude, the real name on my Facebook and all those places, Twitter. I was talking about this, but I wasn't going to bring it into the Leveled Head space. But being that this podcast is for African American, Black, however you want to put it, males, I think it's very appropriate and needed for us to talk about this. We talked about it once before, but I think we need to pick it back up again. So, shout out to Mrs. K for putting her video up and actually being real enough to say that sometimes situations happen in reality that should force gamers to pause and talk about real stuff. So we could talk about whose system is the best, what we think about Nintendo, what we think about Sony, what Microsoft is doing, what you think about this game or that game, and what beef is going on in this sector or that sector of YouTube. We could do that all day, and that's meaningless. It ain't pertaining to nothing. It ain't going to bring any gain to nothing. But when we seeing lives senselessly being executed right before our eyes, I don't care what color you are, black, white, or otherwise, there should be some sense of shock and appalledness and a need for justice in these areas. So in the last 2 days, we have lost 2 people due to police encounters. Alton Sterling and Philando Castile, I think that's how you say his name. Both were shot. Austin was shot in Baton Rouge, an open carry state. and Fernando was shot in his car with his girlfriend and baby in the back, being a licensed carrier. Told the cop that he was, because the cop asked him for his license for a tail light being cracked. Asked him for his license. He told the cop that he is a licensed gun carrier and he does have a gun to pretty much defuse or let the cop know that that's what he had. As he went to reach for his wallet, like the cop asked him, the cop shot him 3 to 4 times in the car with his baby and girlfriend there to watch. And in the other situation, Austin was in front of a store selling CDs. The actual store owner knew that he sold CDs and had no problem with them. They was actually friends. And he supposedly fit the description of what they call a anonymous call that he was selling CDs and he had a gun. They came out, supposedly tased him. As he had his hands up, they tackled him down to the ground. 2 men had him pretty much apprehended, and they screamed, "He has a gun!" Open fire, 4 to 6 shots. He dead. And as a black male, it literally, I kid you not, man. I was going over to my mom's house, and my mom don't live too far from me. I just normally go over there, wallet or not. I literally went back in my house, got my wallet, and was going through ways I would handle a situation just in case I was to get pulled over. And it happened a week and a half ago. I got pulled over and was told that I fit the description of a situation that happened on the other side of town, knowing this dude was lying, because I saw him the whole time, and asked me for my life. So this is not a joke, folks. This stuff, you never know when it's you going to be in that situation as a black male. And so I want to get y'all take on this. I'm going to start with D2K.
I'm going to tell you a story. This is, I think it was February 2001. I had just come back from seeing an absolutely horrible movie called I Am Number 4. Please don't watch that movie ever.
Yeah, I seen that. I own
it. Please. But I was over at my friend's house, and we were playing the game and stuff and whatever. So it got late, so I'm gonna head home. So I start driving up the street, whatever, and maybe I get like 10, 12 blocks away from his house, and I pull to a main street, and I notice there are 2 police cars behind me. And I'm like, okay, I know I wasn't speeding, so what's this all about? So I pull over right away. Whenever I've been pulled over many times, and I always just pull over right away because I'm like, whatever, I don't care, let's get this over with. So I pull over. I'm expecting the cop to come over and shine his super bright light in my face and tell me to pull out my, license and registration and whatnot. But this is what happened. They get on the bullhorn. They say, "We need you to roll down your window slowly." I'm like, what? And then like, "We need you to put your hands on the steering wheel." I'm like, what is this? What? I'm just stupefied at what's going on. Now slowly put your hands out so we can see them. So I did that, and they told me to put my hands back on the steering wheel, and they like, "Now get out of the car and keep your hands in the air." So I got out of the car, got my hands in the air, and they said, "Put your hands behind your back, behind your head." So I did that. Now slowly turn around. Now remember, there were 2 squad cars following me when I pulled over, right?
Mm-hmm.
I turned around. There were at least 5, maybe 6 police cars that had blocked off the street. And I turned around, and it had to be like maybe 10 to 15 cops, all with their artillery loaded at. I mean, they had shotguns, machine guns, They had. I mean, I'm like, did I just wake up in a Rambo movie or something? What is going on here? I mean, they had all the artillery pointed at little old me, and one of them was smiling. I'll never forget that. One of them was looking at dead in my face and smiling. So I turned all the way back around again. They told me to get down on my knees. So I did that, and they came and they cuffed me. So I'm keeping cool throughout this whole thing. I'm saying I'm not gonna trip. Nope. If I'm gonna get if they're gonna whoop my ass, it's gonna be because they doing something wrong, not because I did something wrong. So they pulled me over to the car, and I asked, "What's this all about?" And they said, "We'll tell you about this about in just a second." So they all go over to my van, and they start rummaging around in there looking for stuff. They could have easily planted something in there if they wanted to, but that's neither here nor there.
They didn't even have a search warrant.
No, they didn't. They were, they got. Then one of them finally came up to me and said, "Well, the reason why we pulled you over is because someone who fits your description got into a fight with his girlfriend. There was gunplay involved, and he was an African American male, and he drove away in a white van similar to yours." So I'm thinking BS all the way in my mind, but I didn't say that. But I'm just like, whatever. So that's I'm not even tripping. Like, just look. I know this whole thing is BS. So just do what you're gonna do. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not stunting you. I'm not sweating you. That whole scenario, I did not have 1 ounce of fear. None. Because I knew I'd not done nothing wrong, and I knew they were on that other stuff. So I said, you can do whatever you want to do. I don't care. So eventually, they come back and they check my plates and everything. They make sure, and they see I have no criminal record at all. And one of the guys came up to me and said, "Boy, I wish all our stops can go this easy. Ha, ha, ha." And everybody started laughing and whatever. They all had a good laugh, and they took the cuffs off me and said, "Okay, you're free to go." So this whole dissertation that happened, this whole thing could have just been them just getting my driver's license and ask me a couple of questions, and that could have been it.
And no one apologized.
No, of course not.
Go ahead, K-Bo.
No, I mean, D2K pretty much just summed it up. I mean, that's from. I guess I'll say it from my point of view. The thing is, and the one thing that you're taught as a black young man, as a black teen, or even a child growing up, is just to expect what's going to happen to you. I mean, I can go back to just being a child and just just trying to have fun like everyone else, and being singled out because of my skin. I know it was one time I was at I'm going real old school, back at Ventures, that old shopping store. I don't know how many states actually had a Venture, but it was like the Walmart back in the day, or Kmart back in the day. And I'm maybe 7, 8 years old, and I'm playing with my brothers. And everyone remember those little handheld games we had back in the 90s. Yeah, those handheld games that we had. Tiger, exactly. Tiger games back in the day, and so some people would take them out the package and play them because the batteries were in some of them. And so I went back to the toy section. I'm like, oh man, somebody already got the games out, cool. And then I started playing with it. I was playing with the games, and it wasn't just me. It was other kids back there, all races of colors. I mean, I'm 8 years old. I'm just trying to have fun. I just see games. Me being a gamer as big as I was back then, just wanted to play with the games and with every other kid back there playing. So we do that, and my big brother said, it's time to go. So cool. We get ready to go. We meet up with my mom, and like I'm about 8 years old at this point. We meet back up with my mom, and we get ready to leave. And soon we get ready to leave, we get rushed by security. and they go and go off on us saying that we stole stuff, that we were back there opening up games and all this other stuff, and said that we shoplift, and me and my brother looking at each other like, well, those games were already open. It was other people back there playing. Why are you trying to single us out? What have we done? And then my mom was like, well, my kids would never steal, and they go in and search us and everything under the sun, and we get no apologies for what they did. And they find out that we had nothing. You can check the video and see that we didn't do anything wrong. If you didn't want anybody to play back there, then make sure you tell everyone not to play back there. And so I guess the ride back home, my mother kind of explains to me the deal is that anything that being a black male in America, anything that I do, no matter how old I am, I'm going to be looked at in a certain way. I'm going to be assumed guilty before innocent.
Right.
That I can be in the same predicament as a fellow white student, a fellow white person, and I can be looked at with a certain appeal just because, or certain disdain just because of my brown skin color. And as a young boy, it really takes a toll on you that that I'm the same as Johnny, I'm the same as Tim, but I'm not treated the same, and trying to understand why, where I didn't pick this skin, I was just born with it.
Right.
But I'm just as good as I'm just as talented as Jimmy or John or whoever else.
You're just as worthy of protection as they are.
Exactly. Or I'm just as innocent. Just as innocent as they are, and I guess that's the biggest thing. And
right.
I want to give this to you, Levelhead. But one thing I wanted to say and to challenge some of the people listening who may not be of brown skin, but may have been other. I know for me, the one thing I ask for is that I don't ask for people to go around and apologize for slavery. I don't need you to apologize for slavery because you didn't have slaves. You're born at the same time I am. But what I would ask for people to do is to be able to see things from a different point of view. A lot of people make judgment calls on these issues and these murders from their point of view, and they don't see it from the minority point of view, and they make judgment just from where they stand. Where you don't see you don't believe racism exists because you don't see it. But take the time to talk to another brother, talk to someone else who's experienced this, and learn from their experience what truly happens in that kind of environment, especially when it comes to police and how they treat people of brown skin. I just say, just take that challenge and just sit down and talk to someone and be open-minded and not to quickly judge them, but just have an open conversation with them. Go ahead.
Right. I was going to say, man, my first encounter with being treated differently by police officers was, I remember me and my cousins were outside. My aunt used to stay across the street from a local school, and all the kids in the neighborhood used to climb on top of the side of the building. If you kicked your ball up there, or you was playing something that bounced up there or whatnot, or just climbed up there just to prove that they can do it, right? And it was like mixed race, white, very diverse group of people, white, black, Mexican, mixed, all of us there out there playing, and at any given time, any kid can be up there for whatever reason, grabbing their ball or just climbing up there to climb back down. It never been a big deal. With my cousin, I think I was about 7, and my cousin was about 10. And he had climbed up there, and I never forget it. We was all over by the swing set, and the next thing we know, a police car pulls up, and he's 10 years old. All our aunts and uncles are in the house talking and having a conversation, and some of us was playing basketball, some of us swinging on the swing set, and running around. The next thing we know, the cop walks up to my cousin Cedric and tells him something, and the next thing I know, they handcuff him hands in his back, handcuffing him, dragging him to the police car, no questions. And we all sitting back like, what you doing? As they handcuffed him, we questioning him like, what you doing? He pulling him to the police car, and my aunts and uncles happen to see from the window. They come out, and let's imagine had there not been an adult there. They come out and they begin to question the police like, hey, what are you doing? First of all, you ain't even sought out a guardian or nobody, and you got this 10-year-old boy handcuffed. He doesn't have a criminal record. You could have easily told him not to do that, or you shouldn't be up there to get down. But he fussed with my uncle and my dad. My dad was a pretty big guy, you know what I'm saying? He was a very menacing looking dude. He fussed with my uncle, and he was a pretty big guy as well. And as they talked to him, he began to take them handcuffs off of my older cousin. Now, the crazy thing about that, I'm 7 years old. My understanding of police, I'm going to tell you the truth, was they protect us. They're, in class, what do you want to be, a fireman, a police officer, a doctor, a lawyer? And one of my earliest experiences was being treated less than and watching my cousin being treated less than a child, handcuffed like an adult who really did something worthy of being handcuffed. And he was crying and screaming, and he was dragging him, and it wasn't no light situation. Literally was ragdolling this boy like he was a grown man in some cases, pulling him and pushing him and telling him to get over here and all that. It was very. I still remember to this day. It was kind of traumatizing. So I don't think our counterparts, and I don't say all of them, because I have friends, and I've been in a situation where I've watched our Caucasian brothers show the type of anger and frustration and outrage that I would show at situations like this. So I'm not going to say all are like this, but I believe that as a society, we're not saying enough, we're not doing enough. Our churches are not doing enough, our communities are not doing enough, and we're dropping the ball, man. And I'm going to let John Shaw jump in here because I know he's at work, and he probably have a little bit he want to share. But this is happening too much, and we're literally watching public executions, man. And cops are walking away free because they can say, hey, I was in fear for my life, and he went for my gun, or he had a gun. And even though the evidence in the video right in your eyes show you that's not the case, media takes the most negative picture of this person and then try to paint the scenario of this thug or this criminal lifestyle that nullifies and kills your sympathy for a life that was just lost. And it's really sad. But go ahead, John Shaw.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been in a whole lot of situations, being in the city and stuff. So I've been chained together, handcuffed together with my friends, like a chain, all five of us chained together.
Uh-huh.
And they pull us out the car and handcuff us all together and stuff, and have us sit on the curb and stuff, and just for routine traffic stops and stuff like that. I've had some times where I should have been taken to jail, but I've been let go. So yeah, I've been on both sides of that situation.
Right.
And but it was one time we was going to New Mexico. When we was going through New Mexico, we was coming back from Evo. I went to go to the which is about to come up sometime later, I think next week. But I went to 2 years ago. I went to Evo, and we were on the way back, and she decided to take the southern route, so we went through New Mexico and stuff. And so we went through. You go through all these little small ass towns and stuff like that, and so where the speed limit's like 30 miles an hour on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So my girlfriend, she drives slow as hell anyway, so that's her speed anyway. So I knew she wasn't speeding. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the passenger side. I got a towel over my head. I'm watching a movie on the computer because the sun's out and I couldn't see nothing. So I was trying to put the towel over the computer so I could see the movie. And so we come out of this town. She's exiting and she's about to get back on the highway. The next thing I know, she get pulled over. I'm looking like, well, I know you wasn't speeding. So like, cause you drive like Miss Daisy, so I know you wasn't speeding. So I was like trying to figure out what we can pull over for. I was like, cause we had a rental car too, so I knew everything was legit on the rental car.
Right.
And so she driving. I said, well, just just give her the license. I said, because we in the middle of nowhere, so we don't need no mishaps right now. So just give her the license. Answer the questions. Don't argue with them. You know what I'm saying? Just do what you do. So as soon as they get her, they take her out the car, which I'm already like, I was about to say something, but I was like, I'm in the middle of nowhere. Let me shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Because if something happened to me out here, ain't nobody gonna find me out here. It's like literally middle of nowhere.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So they pull her out the car immediately, take her to the back of the car, handcuff her, and start asking her questions and stuff like that. And so I got her son is in the back seat, and I'm in the passenger seat. And so I'm sitting there, as soon as I seen that, I say, Keyshawn, just answer the question, and after you say yes sir, no ma'am, whatever, don't say nothing else. You know what I'm saying? So they asked her question. They come back, start asking me. I kind of heard some of the questions they asked her. They came back, asked me the same question, like, where you coming from? I said, I'm coming from Vegas. Like, why you going there? You know what I'm saying? I said, oh, because I'm going to a video game tournament. I said, why are you doing that? I said, because I want to. Like, well, whose car is it? I said, it's a rental. If you would have ran the tags, you could see that, Well, how can you afford a rental? I was like, because I got a job.
People don't realize what they do, man. That is crazy.
And so I was like, what kind of job do you have where they'll let you take off a whole week? I was like, a job that lets me take off a whole week. I was like, I'm not understanding your question you're trying to ask me. Like, well, I know it must be pretty nice to be able to take off a week from work. I was like, yeah, it is. That's what's called a vacation. So then I kind of had to stop myself. I was like, I'm tripping. I was like, I can see her getting, because it was a woman cop. And there's no offense to women, but the women police, they the worst ones. So they always trying to prove something. You know what I'm saying? And it's like every single one I've ever encountered, they always trying to prove something. So they're the worst ones. And so I could see that she was getting mad. So I was like, I needed to, chill. Also, I seen that they had a dog in the back too. They had a dog in the back. I was like, I'm just thinking all about all the worst scenarios that can happen. So I'm just like, yeah, let me just chill and just answer questions and then leave it alone. So she asked me a few more questions, like, you know what I'm saying, and then asked me for my identification. Then she asked me a weird question that really threw me off, and I just knew that something was about to go wrong. She asked me, did I have signal on my phone? And you start thinking, like, I'm just in my head, I'm like, why the fuck would she ask me that? Because I didn't have signal on my phone, so we didn't have no signal out there. But I was like, I lied and said, yeah, I got signal, I got 3 bars. I said, oh, okay. And then she went and left, and then she went back to the car, did something. Then came back and started asking my girlfriend's son questions. He said, well, first part of me is like, I was about to tell her, like, don't ask him no questions. You don't need to ask him no questions. He's a passenger inside. You don't need to ask him no questions. I said, but I was like, I just like let it go. You know what I'm saying? So, like, once again, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and they asking the wrong questions. Like, when she asked me the cell phone question, I knew what that was about. Trying to make sure if I could call for help or something. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, they gave us a ticket, and she was like, say we was going 60 and a 30. And I knew it was BS. And I was like, I said, can you show us where that is? Like, no, we can't show you, but you can come, if you want to dispute, you can come to our courthouse. I was like, no, it's okay. Because you ain't about to drive me into the middle of, Timbuktu. And, no, it's cool. I take the ticket and then, I'm just going about my business. So we did that, and then we went on, and she followed us for like a good 2 or 3 miles. You know what I'm saying? And then finally left. You know what I'm saying? But it's just certain situations you gotta, like, the old me, I would have argued with her all day long.
Right.
Especially knowing I'm legit. Like, when I wasn't legit, I'd shut up and I'd say yes sir, no ma'am, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But when I was legit, I was an asshole to cops. You know what I'm saying? But now, as I got older, I learned that you can't, you guys can't do that, because then they get in their feelings, and then they want to, they want to do you harm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I've been in all kinds of different situations. I've been, situations where I've been let go. I've been in situations where police officers are cool about stuff like that. But they not all bad. I ain't gonna say they all bad, but.
And I was just gonna say what you just said. I'm glad you said it. It ain't about. See, this the thing about it. People try to make this be an attack. Like, when you hear about these situations, the problem that I have with it is the insensitivity to the situation.
Exactly.
And those particular cops, and how those particular cops handled or escalated the situation. it's not an attack on all cops. Just like if I have a situation where I'm being treated wrong by prejudice and racial elements, it's not that every white person that I come across is that particular person in that situation was being racist or being prejudiced or whatever.
Right.
We
Right.
all harbor,
I
and I
mean,
said
that's
this
about black cops too. So
right. I said this on Active Gamer Life podcast. All of us harbor prejudice. None of us is escaping being prejudiced and harboring certain feelings towards certain groups. We all have that. We ain't gonna escape that. But when you start to filter your action through those prejudice or those fears or those stigmas or those stereotypes, that's when and especially when you have a badge that you're supposed to be upholding and you're supposed to be more sound and sober than the individual you are interacting with as a police officer, male or female, black or white, you will held to another standard than the person you are, questioning or pulling over or whatever. There's a certain level of action and operation that you have sworn to uphold. You know what I'm saying? But there's a culture in the police departments that ain't being talked about. There's a code that I believe that ain't being talked about. I have a friend I work with, King Cooper. Some of y'all know him. We was talking today, and he was telling me about a situation where him and his friend was walking home from, I think, a party or back to their frat house, and police officers pulled them over and said that they fit the description of a person that they're looking for. Now, check this out, man. My boy King Cooper is 5'8". The friend that he was walking with is 6'5". So what description? One of them can't fit the description. See what I'm saying? So if you saying you fit the description of a suspect we're looking for, is the suspect 6'5" or the suspect's 5'7"? Which one? You can't. So it's a game they're playing, and to me, it's like this thing went past the level of egregious. It's gone to an alarming level where, just like the outcry for Orlando and the mass shootings,
Right.
We should be seeing the same outcry for the mass shootings of innocent black males. And I see a total disparity,
You see silence. There's silence on a certain side. It's silence and a refusal to even identify the problem.
Right. Or accept that there is a problem.
That's
and then
they taught that we deserve it. They taught, like, I mean, it's real talk. That's what they think. They taught that we deserve it. They taught that we always are criminals. We're always doing something wrong. They taught that this is the image that they're portrayed in, and it's like, as sad as it sounds, but that's just the truth of the matter. They taught this. They taught this through the media. They taught this through their parents. They taught this through their friends. They taught this through just plain out ignorance.
Their culture, the whole culture
that they don't know. And they're taught that we're criminals. We're all
hostile.
Doing bad things. So we're all hostile. We're all mad. We're all angry. And they're taught this.
I actually seen a scientific study. This is to bring science into this, and how this is actually ingrained into our minds.
Psyche,
There was a scientific study that had it put people in a so-called life or death situation. So it put a gun in the hand, and then there was an image of a person that would flash, and you had milliseconds to make a judgment if the person was hostile, if they were holding a gun, or if they were like holding a cell phone. And you had seconds, to quickly make that adjustment, or after a certain amount of seconds, they would so-called shoot you, and you would die. And so they put people in this life or death situation, and they had people to partake in this experiment. And what they found in doing this experiment, that not only were black males more likely to get shot while holding either a cell phone or something that was not a weapon, the they were shot faster at a faster rate, which means the brain triggered faster to shoot a black person than it did a white person. And not only did they do this experiment with just regular people, they did this experiment with cops.
Yeah, I heard about the experiment you're talking about. I know that.
And they found out that even the cops killed innocent black people at a higher rate than whites, and they also shot the black suspect, even the ones that were guilty and not guilty, at a faster rate than their white counterparts. And that is a scientific study that they found that that points to that in being ingrained in the head that skin or that color is deemed with being a criminal, and therefore you should react quicker. I mean, that's science right there. That's not.
And
facts, man.
let me add to that, and I'm gonna let D2K come in because I know he had something he was going to say. But in that same study with the police officers, it showed that police officers were more likely to see a 12-year-old young black male as an adult fashion. In the same, they had scenarios set up where it was a 12-year-old or a young black male kid and a white male kid. And in the description of the crime, when it was done with mothers, soccer moms, and cops. And in each party, when there was a black kid, they didn't know they were being tested. The kid was always, when it was a black kid, it was always deemed as he knew better, he deserved punishment. When there was a white counterpart, they deserved sympathy, and they might have didn't know and need to be trained and taught. And with the cops, it went even farther, that they were determined and saw black young males between the ages of 13 and 15 as adults more often than white males in the same age bracket. And you see this even with the situation where the young white boy raped the girl behind the trash can. What did the judge say? The judge said that jail would be too tough for him, right? Well, there's another rape that supposedly happened with a football player, black. They were both sports people. A black football player, two of them, and they're facing between 25 and 30 years in prison for alleged rape. One was proven, one was alleged, but they both are facing that much time, where this man was caught raping, pulled off, ran and chased off by a group of individuals, and he got 6 months in prison, and that was reduced to 3. So, people, there's too much evidence, and here I'm going to turn it over to D2K. There is too much evidence, and I can even bring up Jan Elliott and her test that she's done with high school, with elementary students. She done it on Oprah Winfrey's show. And she also went to a college and done it with students who knew that they were a part of an experiment and still couldn't handle systemic racism. And they knew that they were being tested. This thing is real. And I don't care if you black, I don't care if you white. You are intelligent, you are smart enough to make sound decisions for yourself and not be sold a bill of goods. Every white person ain't good, every black person ain't bad. We all got bad and good apples in every group of individuals. We are a human race, and that's how you should look at it. But I'm gonna turn it over to D2K, and we'll move on from this topic.
Well, I always remember the book To Kill a Mockingbird, which was basically about a black man who was falsely accused of rape only because that he could. There was somebody else who did it, but it was just so easy to say, oh, the black guy did it. And, it wound up that a mentally deficient person had to be the one that had to prove his innocence. But, it just goes to show you that how easy it is for people to believe the worst just because of the color of their skin and the narrative that's created around a certain people group. But I mean, I'll give you two examples of two cops that went above and beyond the Call of Duty in a positive way in
Mm-hmm.
my life. You know, a couple of maybe a year or so ago, um, I was coming home from a friend's house and the brakes weren't working too good on my car, and I was trying to actually get to the store to get something to eat before I got home because I was hungry. I hadn't eaten anything, and I got to a stop and it was just about to turn red, and I was like, I don't want to stop because it's raining and my brakes ain't right. I'm like, I'm just gonna go. And wouldn't you know it, undercover cop sitting right there, like, doggone it. But so I pull over as soon as it turns lights, and I pull right on over. I say, "Oh, go ahead, give me the ticket." He was like, "You know what? Don't worry about it. Just go ahead, man. Just no, just be careful." You know. So I'm like, "Okay, cool, thank you." You know. And then there was another situation which is a little bit more serious. In 2009, I was working as a cable installer, and um, I don't remember much of anything because all I know is that it was slippery out there because it was kind of misty, and I remember climbing up. I remember grabbing my ladder because for some reason there was a drop that had snapped and it was just kind of hanging there. So I had already finished installing cable at the person's house. I said I might as well just take this down before I leave because I don't want my supervisor to roll back and see that and say, "Why did you take it down?" So I remember grabbing my ladder. And it was kind of weird because it's like, you know how it's like you watch yourself doing something even though you're doing it. That's how it was like I was watching a TV show. Felt like I was watching myself carry the ladder. And the next thing I remember is sitting up in the ambulance. And I'm like, okay, I don't remember getting home and taking off my clothes and taking a shower, getting into bed. So why am I laying down? So a bunch of people are pushing me back down. I said, don't get up, you fell off the ladder, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what? I'm in complete shock at that point. So I pass out again.
I know this ain't funny, but that was funny.
It is funny. Yeah, I pass out again, so I wake up again, and now I'm in the hospital, and it's after surgery, and I'm looking at my right arm or left arm, and I got stitches all up my left and right arm, and they told me that I fell off the ladder and all this type of stuff. I fell like 20 feet onto wet grass,
Wow.
but still on wet grass. I broke my radius and all in my left arm. I broke my clavicle on my right shoulder. I had fractured ribs, lacerated kidney and liver, fractured transverse process in my spinal column. You know, all out on wet grass. But the person that I was delivering cable for, and I didn't know it at the time, was a police officer. And he was on the phone talking to his wife. Now, this is what he told me afterwards, because they didn't tell him anything about the accident. You know, they wouldn't tell him how I was doing. He kept calling and said, "How is he doing? Is he okay?" They wouldn't tell him nothing. So I wound up going back to his house like a couple years later.
They can't tell it.
Yeah, I went a couple years later and said, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Man, I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad to see you okay." He wouldn't tell me anything, blah, blah, blah. You know, but he told me that, you know, he saw me fall out of the corner of his eye, and he ran out there, and because he was a police officer, he had proper training on how to take care of me, you know, paramedic training and whatnot, until the paramedics got there. And they were directly around the corner, so they got there pretty quick. But he said that I was going nuts. I was in so much pain that I was, you know, they couldn't control me. He said I was swinging at him because I thought he did something to me. And, you know, and it was the police and the police and paramedics didn't know what to do with me because, you know, I could have had a broken neck, I could have had a broken spine. They didn't want to touch me. They had to get me subdued to get me to the hospital. But, you know, he basically saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, and I thank God that he was there to do what he did. And, you know, in the fact that, you know, he had genuine concern for me, you know, calling my job to find out how I was doing and how, you know, janky that is. They won't tell him how at least I was okay. You know, they won't tell him a thing. But, you know, just to show you that it's you know, it's something that's ingrained in people, but certain people rise above that hate.
Right. Yeah, you're right. And that's a good exit
I
set.
just want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Did you get disability for that?
I'm not allowed to talk about such things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But let me say this, man, and we move on. Like D2K said, this is not aimed at every cop because I've had very good, pleasant experiences with a lot of police officers, and I had very horrible ones. But my thing, really, you gonna have this. You got bad apples in every group. My problem is us as onlookers, white and black, especially our white counterparts. How can you? Some of y'all, even those who are listening right now, who are going to listen to this. I bet you some of you are already contemplating turning this off because of this topic. And I would challenge you to ask yourself why.
Oh, they ain't already turned it off.
What makes you so comfortable? If you have, okay, but if you haven't, if you still like, you wanted to but you didn't.
Don't give me any ideas.
Right. But why? Why does these conversation bothers you about talking about stuff like this? It needs to be
Because
talked about.
some people they think they supposed to feel guilty about it. Oh fuck. All right, bye.
But so with that being said, man, just look at yourself. We all need to look at ourselves and our hearts. Cause life is important to me. I don't care if it's white, black, Asian, Puerto Rican, or whatever. It always hurt me to see a person lose their life senselessly, and I don't care if that was a white man. I would feel the exact same way. Like, what in the world is wrong with these cops and what they're doing? And I remember being at Applebee's, and it was a white family when Michael Brown got killed, and it made me feel so good because I was the only black family there at Applebee's, and it was I didn't know what they had it showing on the display, and I didn't know how they were going to take it. And this man screamed out, "This is a bunch of crap!" When they let the cops and everybody off. The white family was just as adamant about the wrong as I was in my heart and mind. He said everything I felt. And it let me know that it's not just black people feeling this. White folks feel this too. And it's something that we just got to start talking about and really getting in the face of our political leaders and congressmen and councilmen and women and our governors and mayors and making them look, this needs to change, and our cops need to be held accountable when they operate incorrectly and negligently. So let's move on, man. I don't have much else to say on that. It's a sad situation. Pray for both of those families because fathers have been taken away from children and husbands have been taken away from wives and sons have been taken away from mothers. So it's sad, man. It's sad all the way around. But we end with this, man. And I thought it was an interesting topic, and I thought that it's kind of hard to continue after that, ain't it? But I thought that K-Bump 20, and we talk about this and get off of it. Do you think the Scorpio has taken the thunder from the Neo?
And that's to me first.
Yeah, I'm throwing it to you first.
All right. So I had a conversation with a buddy during E3, and this is a buddy who's not really particularly into gaming. So it was kind of shocking to me that he actually brought up this conversation to me. But he brought up to me and sent me a message saying, "Hey man, that Scorpio but Xbox just won me over. I think I'm gonna get that, and it's so much better than the Neo and all this other stuff." And I'm like, "Whoa, where you come from? I don't think you even got a PS3. What is all this coming from?" And then he talked about how the specs is better and all this, and I had to say to him, "Hey man, those Neo specs are just rumors. I mean, there's no concrete behind them. It's just what people may have seen or thought or rumored, but it's nothing that's been confirmed by Sony what the specs are. So, I mean, we can base off of it, but still it doesn't hold any weight." He was like, "Oh, yeah, you're right. Just rumors." And so I don't, from the uneducated masses, and I'm sorry, my buddies, listen, I'm not trying to call you uneducated, but for the people who don't fully know the full story of
Misinformed or
misinformed. There we go. That's much softer way to say it. I think for them it may have been a hoorah moment, but I don't think they showed enough to steal the momentum away from the Neo. Maybe if they gave more concrete stuff, or actually gave something that you know that you can feel, see, or touch, it would have took more steam away. But I don't think they showed anything that was really wowing. And the fact that it doesn't come out until next year, next
Holiday
Christmas,
season.
next holiday season, it still leaves a bunch of space open for the Neo to come and do what it wants to do for its demographic. So I'm going to say no on that. Or sorry, if I do say yes, I'm going to say it's a very minimal yes. So minimal that you may not even see the effect of it when it comes to sales or anything like that.
Okay. D2K.
No, it hasn't still done that. I think that only thing it really did was put Microsoft back in the game because they have been basically both Microsoft and Nintendo have been beaten like a rented mule in this generation by Sony, and they pretty much this announcement of Scorpio basically is basically Microsoft's way of getting up off the canvas, getting up off the mat, say, okay, we back in the fight now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Sony was already on top. So them announcing that PlayStation Neo is a thing, and then added with the rumored specs of it is kind of, immaterial because, they're not in a position where they need to prove anything. They're already on top. They're already running the show. Microsoft need to prove that they're still relevant. And I think that Scorpio accomplished that with them announced what little specs they gave us, because they just told us that the console, the GPU is going to be 6 teraflops and it's going to have 36 compute units. There's still a whole lot more, and just the GPU alone to really ascertain how powerful the system really is. We don't know how much RAM is going to be in there. We don't know what type of processor or how many. We just know how many cores it's going to have. We don't know if it's still the same Jaguar processor or if it's a newer processor. We don't know what type of new processor it is or who's making it. So it's just too much gray area to even really put Scorpio up there and say, okay, this is the thing. This is the stuff right here. We just know that Microsoft ain't playing games no more. They ready to get back, and they ready to get in this. So, and that's the way it should be, because competition makes things better for everybody. It makes things better for us, the consumers, the gamers. It makes things better for the companies, because when you push each other, then that's when you do your best work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Shaw.
What we talking about?
Do you believe that Scorpio took the thunder from the Neo?
No.
No?
I don't think we know enough about either one to make that call yet.
Okay. All right. You have anything else you want to say on that? That was it. That about it. You was pretty low too. You probably need to speak up a little bit more. I know you're at work. So.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We don't know enough about either one of them to make that decision yet, because we don't know anything about this what do you call it, the
Scorpio.
the Neo.
Oh, the Neo.
Yeah, all we know about the Scorpio is that it's a 4K machine. So
okay, I'm gonna go with.
we still don't know what the NX is either.
Right. Well, this is just dealing with the Scorpio and Neo. I'm gonna go with. I'm not gonna say no, and I'm not gonna say much beyond what all you guys said, but particularly what K-Bum said. I'm gonna lead slightly to yeah, but not a crazy like oh my god, but it's done enough to where it's being talked about more than Neo. And I think my other reason for saying yes is the fact that I think Sony has said some things post E3 that has led people to assume that the Neo is not going to be at the time. Either it wasn't going to be as good as the Scorpio. I can't remember how they put it, but supposedly it's not going to be able to outright compete with the Scorpio. So,
Yeah, Sony has done this before.
yeah,
The Master of Trolldom. I mean,
yeah,
they did this whole thing with the DRM situation. They came out and they didn't intentionally did not say anything about it, even though they were planning to do it. But they didn't say anything about it. And they let Microsoft go out there and take the fall, and they could pick up the pieces later on. So
right.
the fact that it leaked out that they were doing a PlayStation Neo so much earlier than Scorpio forced Microsoft to run to the masses and say, okay, we got a powerful system too. It's going to do this, going to have teraflops, blah, 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 blah. And Sony is like, thank you. Now we know exactly what to do to beat you again.
Yeah, that is what is. They could, but even in that, I don't even know if Sony. I mean, people keep still forget that Sony, even though they're doing good with the PlayStation 4, still has a financial issue. So I don't even know if they can financially.
But they have broken off the
Also,
department,
they're
right?
a single entity now.
I know they were in talks of doing that last year. I mean, I have to get my facts together to make sure before I make that statement.
Okay.
But I thought they were making a Sony branch so that the company Sony that's losing all this money wouldn't hold down their gaming branch.
Okay.
But even still, I mean, that's the whole thing about these new graphics cards that are coming out both from Nvidia and AMD is that you're getting a lot more powerful GPUs for a lot less price. Now, I don't expect the PlayStation Neo to have an Nvidia card in there, but just to show you that, just to show how big of a threat AMD is with their affordable cards, with the RX 480 being $199 and with the 8 gig version being $229, they just revealed the GTX 1060, which is basically giving you the power of a 1080, a GTX 980 for $249.
Right.
So you're getting much more powerful GPUs for a lot less price. So PlayStation Neo doesn't even have to be expensive. We can realistically sell a system as powerful as Scorpio and still sell at a profit.
Okay. Well, I would say, and that I ain't no techie, so you you had to break all that down to me in like layman terms, because I'm like, well, I don't know none of that. But I'll say this, just as far as talking and the conversation piece, I would say, yeah, Scorpio did steal a little thunder from the Neo, but I'll also say this, what does that prove? And it nothing. At this time, nothing. Because neither one of them are out. We know little to nothing about each of them, but the conversation has swung from, it was the NX, and then it swung from the NX to the Neo, and now it's swinging from the Neo to the Scorpio. So, but it doesn't matter in the long run because we don't know nothing about neither three. So, at the end of the day, it's still a waiting game. So, that's what I say. But I will say that it has taken a little of the spotlight from the Neo, but not a lot, like K-Bum said. Well, guys, anything else y'all want to discuss, or we can call it quits here?
I don't know. I think it's a good spot. We kind of ran the gambit about the conversation.
Okay. I see that John Shaw has also. I'm taking it that he probably had to go do something. So let's go ahead and sign out, starting with K-Bum 20.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Yeah, this is K-Bum 20, man. I really like the conversation that we had. A very candid conversation with just human beings that want to see people treated like humans, man. So I hope you guys listen. I hope you guys are open to what was said. And you guys can, in your own right, be able to fight for justice and fight for the rights of others to be protected just like everyone else. So looking forward to our next podcast. So.
Okay. Appreciate them words, K-Bum. D2K.
Yeah, I could just piggyback off of what K-Bum said, and I feel the same way. It's always good to have a conversation about things that are going on in the world, and we all have different points of view on lots of different things. We may, and I'm just not just about us, but at large, we all have different perspectives on things, but we're all human beings, and everybody should be able to be treated with respect and dignity, no matter who you are, where you're from. And that's the reason why we do this. That's the reason why we have, FullEffectGaming.com. That's the reason why other YouTubers have their channels do these things, because we want to come together and be able to have fun and fellowship with each other, and talk about gaming and things that are positive. That's one of the things that kind of gets lost in today's society of sensationalism, of negativity. And we just have to continue to rise above all that. Don't allow that stuff to pull you down. Don't stay in the crab. Just stay out of the crab barrel and just keep rising above things. And it's D2K. I'll see you next time.
All right. And I say this, man. I pretty much agree with everything both K-Bum and D2K said. But just want, like K-Bum said, we are human beings. This is humanity. There should be a level of compassion and conviction and appalledness to all things like this. And leave it at this. I've seen more done to the negligence of a dog, where people neglected a dog, than people taking actual human beings' lives. That should say a lot.
But there was more of an uproar over the gorilla that got shot than this.
Right. And that's my point. So, it's a real thing, and I just wish and I hope that we are able to step outside of our own shoes and comforts and privilege and look at what individuals are going through who fit certain stereotypes and ideas and fears, and see the wrong that is being done to them, and have the compassion and the will and the fortitude to stand out and say what needs to be said in the truth, rather than falling into the cracks of comfort and it's not my problem, it's theirs. With that being said, till the next time, folks, this is the Live and Level Gamers podcast. Yes, we talk games, but we talk all things included as well. So till next time, folks, stay on the up. Deuces.